Hey guys, we're going to work on page 145 in our math book. Make sure you're using this video as a way to check what you're doing or to help you along as you need it, but not just something that you're copying down. Make sure that we're stopping and fixing what we need to and then thinking about how we can apply this. So plot the points on the grid. So I need to remember that x is first, the x-axis is first, and that the y is second. And remember that 0, 0 right here is the origin. Sometimes we forget that that's what that's called. And remember, it goes x, then y. Before we can go up the stairs, we have to start down, right? So down, then up. That's how we remember it, or one of the many ways we remember it. And in the alphabet, we can also know that x is before y. So I'm just going to plot these points on the grid and connect the points as I go. 1, 1. So here's my 1 for x, my 1 for y. B is 2, 3. So here's my 2 for x up to 3. Connect as I go. C is 5, 3. 1, 2, 3. Connect as I go. D is 4, 1. Connect as I go. And then E is 1, 1. So when you have a dot already there, all we're doing is just connecting back to that point. I realized it came out of focus there, but the points connect in order to get in the order given, or connect the points in the order given. What shape did you draw? So think about that shape. It does not have any right angles. It is 4 sides, so I know it is a quadrilateral. Okay. It has 4 angles as well. So I'm just going to write in quadrilateral. You could also write in what specific quadrilateral that is, if you know what specific quadrilateral that is. Solve. You can use fraction pieces to help you. We are finding the common denominator. Remember, what you do to the denominator, you do to the numerator. So here we're going to list the multiples of the denominators if they're uncommon, and then we'll multiply by a number to get a common denominator. So I have 2 and 4 are my denominator. So let's count by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8. 4, 8, 12. Okay. I have some common numbers here, but I need to pick the number that is the least or the smallest common. So my common denominator between 2 and 4 is 4. Well, that's nice. 1/4 is already the common denominator. Half will need to change. So half times some sort of fraction will give you a denominator of 4. So I need to think about 2 times what is 4? 2 times 2 is 4. What I do to the denominator, I do to the numerator because I'm really multiplying by 1. Now my equivalent fraction for half is 2/4. So 1/2 is equal to 2/4. So now I'm just going to substitute. Where I see half, I'm going to substitute for 2/4. So I have a common denominator. 2/4 plus 1/4 is 3/4. B, well that's nice. I have an unlike denominators, but they're 2 and 4. So I know all I need to do is change the denominator with 2, or the fraction with the denominator of 2. And I already found an equivalent fraction for half, which was 2/4. So 2/4 plus 3/4 is 5/4, but that's improper. So I would take my denominator and divide that, my numerator and divide that by my denominator and report my remainder as a fraction. So I have 5/4 or 1 1/4. All right, next I have 2 fractions, 3/4 plus 1/8, and an uncommon denominator. So I'm going to go ahead and find a common denominator by listing the multiples of the denominators. All right, I stopped. Oops, you couldn't see that. I stopped because I already have a common denominator. Or I found my common denominator as I was listing. And that was 8. So for 3/4, I'm going to think about 3/4 times what fraction gives you a denominator of 8? 4 times what is 8? 4 times 2 is 8. What I do to the denominator, I do to the numerator. 3 times 2 is 6. 6/8. So where I see 3/4, I'm going to substitute it for the equivalent fraction of 6/8. So 6/8 plus 1/8 is 7/8. All right, now I have 1/4 plus 3/8. These are not common denominators, but I just found the common denominator, which is 8. So now I'm going to continue and multiply because I don't know what my equivalent fraction is for 1/4, but I do know I can figure that out. 1/4 times what gives me a denominator of 8? 2 times 4 is 8, and 2 times 1 is 2. So 1/4 is equivalent to 2/8. So 2/8 plus 3/8 is 5/8. All right, we have 194 multiplied by 215. I want to estimate first. 194 is very close to 200, and 215 is close to 200. Now I can do this one in my head to estimate. 2 times 2 is 4, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. So my answer needs to be close to 40,000. If you're having trouble lining up your place values when you multiply, you can use graph paper, but I'm going to try this one out in my book. 4 times 5 is 20. Regroup that too. 4 times 5 is 45. Don't forget to add the 2. 47. When I use something, I like to cross it off. Regroup the 4. 5 times 1 is 5. Plus 4 is 9. And since I used that 4, I'm going to go ahead and cross off the 4. And then I'm going to go to the next row, which is the tens place. That 1 is worth 10. So I'm going to go ahead and put a placeholder 0 right here. And then I'm going to multiply. 1 times 4 is 4. Make sure I line up my place values and I'm not sloppy. 1 times 9 is 9. 1 times 1 is 1. Now I'm going to move right along, and this is where sometimes we get stuck. This 2 is in the hundreds place. So if I were to think about how much this 2 is worth, it's worth 200. So I would need 2 placeholders. And I want to make sure I line them up properly. So my zeros are in my ones place. And now I have another 0 in my tens place. So the next time I record a digit, it'll be in my hundreds place. 2 times 8 is 8. 2 times 9 is 18, making sure I line that up in my thousands place and regroup my 1. 1 times 2 is 2, plus this last 1 is 3. And even in the end, I like to cross off my digits. Now I really like to make sure I add my digits correctly, so I want to make sure, I always like to kind of put a line down. So 0 plus 0 plus 0 is 0. 7 plus 4 plus 0 is 11. Don't forget to regroup. Right over to the hundreds place. 1 plus 9 is 10. Plus 9 is 19. Plus 8 is 27. 2 plus 1 is 3. Plus 8 is 11. Regroup. And now I need to finish with adding my comma. Remember, commas go every 3 digits, or every 3 places. 1, 2, 3. So my answer is 41,710, which is kind of close to my estimate of 40,000. Our final, well, actually not our final problem, but the final problem I'm going to do with you is number 4. Number 5 you'll have to do on your own. Rewind the video or take breaks so that you can come up with your answer for 4. Round each number to the nearest tenth. So that's 1 place behind the decimal. So I have a 5 here. I want to look behind the 5 and I have a 2. If it's 4 or less, we do nothing. It stays the same. We rest. So I'm going to just leave it. I'm going to drop the 2 and the 5 remains the same. And all other digits remain the same as well. All right, my next digit's a 1. That's 5 or more, so we need to soar or go up a digit. So the 8 makes the 1 become a 2. So there's my 10th, and then the 1s in the 10th place remain the same. 123 and 45 hundredths. I have a 4 in the 10th place, and behind the 4 is a 5. So the 4 needs to soar and become a 5. All digits in front of the 5, or in the 10th place, will stay the same. Oh, that is a terrible 3. Now I have 38 and 27 hundredths. I have a 2 in the 10th place. Behind the 2 is a 7, so I'm going to soar. The 2 will soar to a 3. And all other digits in front of the 10th place will stay the same. All right, our last one, a 9 in the 10th place. Behind the 9 is a 9. So the 9 needs to soar. But this gets tricky. So when a 9, oh, I messed that up. Hang on. Let's back up. Sorry. A 1 in the 10th place. And the 9 will make the 1 soar to a 2. Man, I was so excited to show you what to do when we have 9s and they soar, because it changes a couple places. So make sure when you do number 5 that you're stopping and really thinking about what you're recording for your response.